See, hi, I'm Mrs. Argyle, and Layla requested that I teach you how to draw caricatures. So to get started, first of all, you want to get paper. You can get drawing paper. I just have regular computer paper right now. Make sure you get your pencils out. I usually use a ruler for caricatures, especially when you're first beginning. I would highly recommend starting out with the ruler. And then you want to find a picture of a person you want to draw a caricature of. So I just went through magazines and just found a picture in a magazine. So I'm going to draw this lady right here. Okay, so to start off, you are going to draw kind of a little grid on your paper, kind of a little cross shape. So first what I do is I start my caricature kind of in the middle, a little bit higher than the middle of my paper. So I'm going to do that. And then directly in the center of your paper, you're going to draw another line coming down. And these lines don't have to be very dark at all. In fact, the lighter the better, because you're going to erase these at the end of your drawing anyways. Okay, and this is going to be the very center of your face, right where it crosses. And this is where the center of this lady's face is going to be as well. This little grid right here that I have going over here, and I have this lady's face. And one thing is, when you pick a face, make sure it's a face that's straight on. If you do it towards the side or looking down, it's not going to work for this drawing technique. So make sure that it's a straight on face that you can see. So next thing I'm going to do is, your eyes are actually one eye length apart. So I'm going to pick a measurement for that. So I usually pick an inch. And I do half an inch. So right here I have my full inch. I'm going to do half my inch on this side and half of my inch on this side of that middle line that I just drew. And then coming from this half inch on this side of the line, I'm going to draw a full inch, because that's going to be where my first eye is going to be. And then my second eye is going to be right here on this side. And next I'm going to look at the eye shape. So most eyes, you can usually show those usually kind of a trapezoid type shape. And eyes, to get better at them, just work on drawing them. I draw them several times in my sketchbooks and things like that. So this is the basic shape of the eye. Some people's eyes are more almond, others are more round. It just kind of depends from eyeball to eyeball. So looking at this lady's eye, I can see that it's kind of more of an almond shape. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that right in here. And you can see with my lines that I don't draw the perfect line the first time. My lines are kind of hairy. That allows me to make mistakes and gradually shape the lines until they're the one that I want to pick. Make sure that with your eyes, make sure that they're the same height as the other parts of the face. So I'm going to draw a line right across here, just to make sure that my eyes don't go higher than the other ones. And the same with down here. A mistake that lots of beginners make is the eyes are not level, so one eye is higher than the other eye, and then people just look a little bit freaky. So to prevent that, that's why we draw that line right there. So I'm just going to finish this other eye shape right here. Make sure that they're the right size. And then with her lower part of her eye. Okay, so now we have the basic outline of the eye. Right here, looking at these, I can tell that one of my eyes is bigger than the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that and make it so they are both the same exact size. Okay, before I put any more details into the eye, I'm going to start drawing the other parts of the eye. So next thing is we'll draw the iris and the pupils first. So this is done by making a circle. If you have a regular eyeball, so regular circle, because that's what your eye is just a ball, an eyeball. And in the center there is a perfectly round iris. And then there's the pupil on the inside, which is just a hole that lets light in and out. You have to think of this as an actual eyeball. Your eyelids are what make your eye have a shape. So sometimes parts of the iris and eyelid will get cut off. That's just why that works. Okay, so I'm going to draw a circle. You can see that the bottom of my circle is cut off. Once again, it depends on person to person. It depends on how much they're smiling as well, and also if they're squinting their eyes or something, that can also make a difference. So I'm going to draw that, and then I'll draw the pupil in the center of the eye. You want to make sure that the pupils are the same size, otherwise it looks like they have a concussion or something. Yeah, so that's what you do for those. And then I'm just going to briefly draw the eyelids. And notice how light that I'm drawing. I don't want to draw super dark right now, especially since I'm just getting the basic shapes right. Okay, so now that I have those drawn, I'm going to do the distance from the nose to the eyes. So I'm just going to start out in the middle of those pupils. Bring this right around. Okay, and you can also take your ruler, and actually that might be better. I'm used to not using the ruler. So it's about 2 inches from pupil to pupil. And you're going to start right where the eyes touch. That's about the distance that your nose is going to make. When I first started drawing noses, I'd often draw the nose too low. So they looked like they had super long noses. You also want to make sure that your eye, or your nose, your nostrils do fit right in between your eyelids, so that eye width apart. Your nose is 1 eye width wide. And this varies slightly from person to person. It's not like an unwritten rule that noses can't go, let's see, there's not a rule that says your nose, nostrils can't go outside of the eye tear ducts, but yeah, it'll just depend from person to person. Okay, and this lady that I'm drawing, she has a prominent nose, and in a caricature you want to emphasize the main part of their face. So that's what I'm doing with that. Okay, so once I have that nostril pretty much drawn, I'm going to look more closely at the shape of this lady's nose as I'm drawing this. And the basic shape of it for the nose is 1 sphere connected by 2 spheres. And right now, and then this bottom part, I compare it to a seagull, the little seagulls that you draw, and except for instead of it being pointed right there, it's going to be a nice round part. So that's a basic part of the nose, but let's go ahead and do this right here. Her nostrils aren't showing quite as much because it's just a different angle of her face. So I'm going to continue to play with that shape. Okay, I'm not sure where this got exactly when it stopped, but we last went off talking about the orbit. Okay, so right here on the drawing then, I'm going to look at my model that I'm drawing from, and I'm kind of going to look at hers. She's smiling, so it's almost the edge of her irises instead of her pupils, but this other side is about the edge of her iris as well. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to come straight down from those parts. I'm going to look at the shape of her mouth, and hers, like that seagull shape that I showed you earlier, kind of the little seagulls flying off into the distance, that kind of shape. Her mouth is kind of like that, just wider. So almost that same shape from the nose. She doesn't have a very big V in her mouth. So next, I'm going to look at her lips. And since she is smiling, her lips are going to look a lot thinner. That's because they're stretched out instead of being flat on her face. I'm going to make sure that her lips are level. It looks like part of mine is a little bit off. So let me do that part of her. Okay, I'm gonna skip the teeth for a minute and we'll come back to that. But let's get the shape of this inner part of her mouth. So I just did that part. And then her other lip. Your bottom lip is usually always, well, almost always fatter than your top lip. I guess it would depend, once again, from person to person. But generally, that is how it's done. And then the teeth, I'm going to just make a mark this way and this way. Kind of an upside down trapezoid type shape. And this isn't going to be her full teeth. We need to draw her gums. And this lady, she has really awesome gums, so I'm excited to draw those later on. Next thing is we're going to draw her cheeks. Do this part really, really light, otherwise it makes them look like an old grandma. And as you draw older people, like the wrinkles will be more creased, just exposure to the sun and things like that. And then just old age and gravity make these more defined. And I'm going to go ahead and start erasing some of my lines. Right now I'm just using the pink eraser. I usually use a white art eraser because I don't like the pink streaks that sometimes these regular pink erasers leave. But once again, I guess that's just a personal preference. Okay, so I erased that part. I'm going to redraw some of these parts that I need now. Okay, so I'm drawing this part of her cheeks. And then she has some fun little dimples right there. And your chin, let's actually draw the line for your chin. Your chin is usually about an eye width down. So you can see once again from this part of the eye. So it's about an inch. I'm going to do about an inch down below. So from the base of where the lip, from the base of the bottom lip, about right there, that's about where your chin is going to go. Let me make sure my camera is still on. Yep, it is. Awesome. Okay. So the next part of this, actually I'm going to fold this lady's face so we can see it better. Next step is getting the shape of the face right. So once again, let's look at the picture of the skull again. Because look at how it's kind of a square shape. And you have to remember that your chin, this mental protuberance, your mandible right here, it's kind of like a square or a trapezoid shape. And it fits in this square. A lot of people, they either make it too wide or they forget about this and make it too thin, and that makes it look unhuman. So just remember kind of that shape, that square shape of the face in these different parts, and everyone's face shape is different. Another thing that's kind of cool is that your eyes are actually in the center of your head. After you do your skin and your hair, you can see that your eyes actually are in the center of your head, and we'll see that measurement next. So let me find my little lady again. There she is. Okay, so this is going to be straight right here, and remember that trapezoid shape in the skull. Your eyes are about, so from the edge of your face, it depends on from person to person. Some people say half an eye width, other people say it's a full eye width. So once again, let's do another inch right here. And these are all approximations. Everyone's face is different. That's what makes this unique and awesome. So right here, this eye width looks a little bit too wide, especially for this girl's face shape. It looks like on one side of her face, it is more, or it's bigger distance than the other one. So I'm going to do about a ½ inch for this side, and I'm going to draw my line straight down. And then this part right here, I'm going to draw straight down as well. Next, I'm going to kind of fix the shape of her face. We'll draw her cute little dimples that she has. Okay, so next remember that your eyes are the center of your face, so I'm going to measure from chin line to that little midpoint line that we drew earlier, and this is how high up the head is going to go, so I'm going to do that. And now, let me draw these other lines in her face. She has more prominent cheekbones, which is always fun. Okay, and now that I have the basics done, I can look at her face and say, do you know what? Her eyes are a lot thinner than that, so I'm going to change the shape of her eye. And over on this side too, so she looks even. It looks like she has eyeliner on, so it's going to draw more attention to her eyes. Now I'm going to draw her basic hair shape. So first of all, I'm going to start with her hair part. Start right there. And already it's starting to look like this lady. And she has kind of shorter hair. The next measurement is your ears. On half of her face, you can see that it is not showing her ears. Let's come along like that. Okay, now let's look at her ear on this side. Your ears start at the top of your eyelid. So I'm going to draw a little line right there. I can see. And then from your nose line, the bottom of your nose, that's where your end. And for the ears, most people don't go staring at your ears. And so luckily people don't pay that much attention to ears. I don't know, maybe some people do go around looking at ears instead of at people's eyes. But I just draw some simple lines. You can see that it's almost like a little hot dog type shape. And then I'm going to draw this little V shape for this other part of her ear. And then I'm going to draw this little archway. This is the darker part of her ears. If her ears are pierced, they'll go down there. But this lady looks like she doesn't have those. So there's the basic parts of her face shape.